Good morning, everyone. It's February 15th of 2026, not 2025. And I apologize, in my last video, I said 2025. Yes, I'm aware of it, but that's what happens when you ask me to do a video and I have very little coffee in my system, either which way. 2025, 2026, close enough, right? All right, let's talk about DOW. This is a trade that was amazing for us. And this is one of the swing trades that have worked for us. So I figured this would be the best one to do. And one of the members in the Discord server asked me, how on earth did you get DOW on your radar? And I'm going to show you with on demand. For those of you who have never used on demand, it's this button here to the right, and it allows you to go back in time and back test a strategy. And let's go back to the beginning of the year, or at least the start of the year here. And you can see right here that we went back to January 7th at 8:30 a.m. And one of the things that I liked about DOW is that every time it got down to this level right here, you can see that they defended it and they brought it back up, okay? And for those of you who haven't looked at my logo, this is my logo. This is how price moves, right? We get the sell-off, we get to move up, we get the sell-off, we get to move up, we get the sell-off, and then we get to move up. And price forms this box before it makes a decision to either break to the upside or to the downside. And for those of you who don't have a process, a lot of people struggle to believe that that's how price moves, but that's my process and that's how I do it. And it has done very well for me. And going forward, I mean, that's all I look for, right? I look for these boxes and I sprinkle it with the Strat. And so here we go. When we look at DOW, I realize that this is an inside year so far. I get that, but that wasn't what caught my attention. This right here on the daily is the very first thing that caught my attention on the 1 year. And then I also went back and I looked at it on a 2 year as well. So if I look at that, because I like to do that on a day as well, let's add that here. And let's pull this back on a 2 year as well. And we can see, look at this huge, huge correction, right? And then we have this consolidation moving sideways. And if you've never taken the time to look at your charts on a 2 year, I would recommend that you do it and you learn to train your eyes, or you teach your eyes how to see support and resistance. And so once I saw this right here, it was on my radar. There was no doubt. I added this to my watch list. And then if we fast forward right here, um, this right here was the run into earnings that I tell people about. We normally run into earnings, and you can see how they finally got it through this resistance here, and then they retested it, and then they moved it up, and then they sold it off into earnings. Okay. But the thing that caught my attention was right here on this day, 129, is that they set this 2-2 Rev Strat up right here on the day. And that was my key to say, okay, we closed strong here, and there might be a possible reversal. And so my first target was this gap fill right here. And I mark my gap fills like this with a dashed line. And I slowly went through and I just started marking all these potential targets right here. And you can see here's another gap fill. And that was my target right there. I told Sylvia in the group, I said, well, let's try to take this all the way up to the gap. take our money, and then we'll wait for it to set up again. And look, guys, it's setting up again. I know that's a red inside candle, but it's still setting up, so it's still on my radar. And this goes back to once a bigger time frame goes in forth like the quarter, we can trade it up to our targets right here. And when it sets up on the day, we can get back in and we can hit this thing as long as it's still good. Because as long as it's still good, and if we keep moving up here, this right here will eventually trigger the 222 rev strat at 42.17. So maybe that's an area that you want to mark with a different color, because that's what I like to do. I like to mark the year with this blue color here, and I like to extend it to the left. So now, if I pull this down, I know that if we hit this right here, this is 2 up on the year. And so maybe it's still good to the point where now you try to trade Dow back up to 60.40. Guys, this is how the big winners produce for you time and time and time again. One of the very first ones that caught my attention to teach me this was Carvana. When we pulled back and we set up and we went up like this. Okay. Now I know hindsight is easy, but the point is that these big winners, they all correct and then eventually they reverse. But that's the trade in Dow. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have questions, please let me know. If you are looking for a Discord server, come and join us. We're a great server, and we have a lot of great traders in there. So until we meet again, take care and God bless.